Bandwidth Boys Podcast. We talk about stuff, tech stuff.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Bandwidth Boys Podcast. I am Greg.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Connolly.
Well, as usual, let's get right into what's going on. Tech World.
What's going on in Tech World?
Well, if you love wireless audio, the Comcast audio could be a perfect fit for you. And after this week, it might even be worth the $35. Google announced that they have made multi-room support available. Chromecast audio allows users to stream music through your home's Wi-Fi to any speaker that's connected to Chromecast audio. One of the biggest hurdles prior to this week was you couldn't listen to different music or even sync your music in different rooms. But thanks to Google, now you can.
Some Twitter users received an ominous warning from the company this weekend. Twitter sent out an email to a small number of users warning them that their accounts may have been compromised during attacks by state-sponsored hackers. The number of possibly compromised accounts is unknown, but Twitter says that the attackers may have been after email addresses, phone numbers, and IP addresses. Twitter concluded the email by suggesting that the affected users look into the Tor service.
And let the Force be with you, or at least the cardboard. The Force is strong as many companies are trying to get in the Star Wars clan. Google is no different. Earlier this month, Google offered a free Star Wars-styled Google Cardboard exclusively at Verizon. Well, as you might have guessed, Verizon ran out of those pretty quickly, so Google decided to put it up on its Google Play Store. The cool VR tech, no shipping required, and completely free. But guess what? Yep, sold out again. Cool story anyways.
Well, billboards exist to attract attention, and thanks to a clever advertising technique and seductive imagery, they often succeed at their job. But while the imagery of billboards is optimized to lure eyeballs, the armature that holds the imagery is pretty much invisible. So, when Ace Advertising of the City of West Hollywood commissioned architect Norcan O'Herlihy to redesign a billboard on the city's famous Sunset Strip, he decided to focus on making that armature more integral and interesting part of the billboard. You'll have to check it out. Follow the link when you get a chance.
Video editors wanted nothing to do with Final Cut X.
Nothing.
And apparently neither does Apple. Ironic. They recently posted a job listing for assistant editor under the Beats by Dre brand. Except one thing was glaringly missing from the posting: Final Cut X editing experience. The position required critical editing know-how using the Adobe and Avid software.
And that's a wrap on what's going on, Tech World.
Well, what is on the minds of our tech minds tonight?
A loud buzzing in our ear. That's what's going on.
So, Bandwidth Boys experiencing some.
That's kind of ironic, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Tech podcast, some tech weirdness going on, but we're powering through it, and we'll figure it out.
Well, the frequency with which it happens is starting to lose its irony, I guess, with me. But it's becoming maybe our moniker.
It's our go-to thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, the big talk today is about music services. So we know that Pandora and Google Music and Apple Music and Tidal, which is the Tidal. Hey, that's the one created by the music lovers. So don't knock it. All right. So with all these streaming music services, we figure we dive into it since we've all kind of had a chance to play around with one type of music service. So, Matt, why don't you kick us off with what you use, what you like, what you don't like, and then we'll do a round robin.
Ironically, I must point out that we have all decided, ironically and unplanned, to choose different music services to use our own, right? I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I myself have gone the Spotify premium route, and I must say there's not really anything I don't like about it other than, the few artists who have chosen to withhold their music from it, but none of those artists really fall into my interest of music anyway, so that's not a huge deal. And they seem to have everything else I want, so I don't really have anything bad to say about them. How about you, Greg?
About Spotify?
No, about your choice in music services.
Yeah, I have decided to, although no dollars have changed hands yet, but I guess that doesn't really matter in this conversation, to do the Apple Music route. And I think I've convinced other members of my family to do it along with me so that we can do the family version of it.
How much
So
is
I've been playing around with that for the last month or so.
how much is
And
Apple Music once you have to pony up some dough?
you're looking at 10 monthly, or 15 if you want to do the family thing. And I would have to actually look at some literature to make sure I'm right about it, but I think it's 5.
Yeah, I think it is 5.
I think it's 5 Apple addresses
Mm-hmm.
that you can attach to it. So
Cool.
that works kind of nicely for the family, I guess, because I had children saying that they were going to, and they still may, who knows, go for maybe Spotify Premium or something. So I
And
said,
then
hey, why don't we try this?
I use Google Play. So I first started with Google Play, just regular, or Google Music regular, without paying, which allows you to upload your own music library and then be able to sync it on your phone and anything like that. And then I decided, hey, since all my music is there, why not pay the extra to get Google Music All Access? And so that allows you to not only create radio stations like Pandora, and free Spotify, I think, allows you to do radio services. I'm sure Apple does too. But it allows you to listen to whatever album you want if it's on the service for free. You can kind of cache some songs so that if you're on the go, you don't have to rely on internet connection to have that work or so. And my wife and I both use Google Music, and I love it. And I tried Spotify after I got Google to kind of see what it was all about. And for me, there was no big difference between Spotify and Google, and so I just kind of hung out with the Google bandwagon. So it sounds like all three of these services, as long as you're willing to pay the $9 or whatever, it's pretty similar. No,
Is that how much Google Music is?
$9.99.
And that's per.
Yeah.
Do they have a family option?
They have five. You can use the same email for 5 accounts.
Okay.
So
So it's really
either
the same deal.
yeah, either
Less money,
mobile.
though.
Well, how much is the Apple one?
Well, it's 15 if you're doing the family thing.
Oh, okay.
It's $9.99 or 10 if you're just doing your own, from what I understand.
Okay. But I think with I would think we talked about last week, Coldplay is going straight to Apple Music and Tidal and holding off on Spotify and Google for some reason. And Adele, I think, did the same thing too. So, I mean, that's something to look at when you're looking at music services is, if a new album comes out, am I going to have to wait like Netflix 30 days before it comes on my service, or do I get it instantly? And I'm not quite sure how that's been working out with the music labels and which one they're deciding to go with and which ones they're deciding to hold back from. But
I don't think it has anything to do, as far as I can tell, in the music industry with one necessarily favoring another because of relationships. I think it's having to do with the amount of money that they're being paid per song that's going out. And Spotify tends to, at least at this point, and the reason I think it chases away some musicians is that they pay very little out, and they also really essentially make it available free, as long as you don't mind lunging for the computer to not hear the ad.
right. So you've been playing around with Apple. Is there anything you see as a downside with Apple Music?
Yeah, I was reading some posts actually just earlier today about people, and I had run into it myself because I hadn't really dabbled all that deeply into it until my wife said, hey, can you put this? I really want this on my iPod. And it does clearly state, if you go back into it, that you can't transfer any of your Apple Music from your subscription onto an iPod, which you can imagine. Just sort of thinking of it as we've called it before, the Apple ecosystem sort of thing. You're used to being able to do that.
So you have to purchase
that
it before you put it on your iPod.
That's right. So there's that. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I understand what they're doing. But it is one of those things that they're a service that you're normally accustomed to with music that you get, no matter how you get it from Apple. You're able to move it around on your different devices as long as you've got your Apple ID handy and it all works. But I guess they're working on getting that encoded properly, perhaps for the future. It's hard to say, but
Right.
they didn't. doesn't look like you're going to be able to move it around. So I think that'll be a bit of a downside for some people until you get used to.
And you only
you have to have your phone, basically.
You only can't move it around on an iPod. But if you have internet connection, are you able to move it around on that type of deal as long as you have the app?
Yeah, if you have an iOS, that's just it. And they were talking about the possibility that maybe they're just going to put out iPods that have an iOS function to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that would allow it to be able to read that information and understand your subscription information,
right?
Basically, yeah.
And the one thing I really love about Google, if I may, is it's very universal in the sense of not only can I play it on my phone or my iPad or my Android device, but I can also play it on my Sonos system. So it ties in perfectly with that. You can either cast it from the Google Music app itself, or you can cast it from within the Sonos app. So it's very universal that way. And so that's kind of a reason why I kind of lean towards staying with Google, is because it works with everything I have, and it sounds good. But according to Matt, there was a scientific research done that Spotify sounds better than Google Music.
Really?
Probably by like a hertz thing. I don't know.
Well, Apple Music streams
compression, or what is it?
Apple Music streams at like 256 AC. Spotify gives you 320. So
none of that means anything to me. They all sound the same to me.
Well,
they don't though.
Yeah, that's not true at all. But
you're not going to know the difference unless you compare them. Right?
Isn't that what we're doing? We're comparing.
No, I mean
them?
if you're sitting in the room and you listen to each one, you're not going to know the difference unless you sit there and listen to each of them at the same time.
Well, I think really what you're just going to notice is that you have something that has a compromised sound to it, or it doesn't. Maybe just that.
I mean, do people even know what a compromised sound is?
I go through life knowing what a compromised sound is.
Well, you do because you're an audio guy.
That's why he's on this show.
That's why you're on the show. But a normal person, would they know what a compromised sound sounds like?
I don't think we'd be enjoying streamed music rather than playing albums if as a culture we cared that much overall. No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and I don't think I threw that out as a big breaking point. I think I just threw that out to add to the differences of the services. Is they all do stream at different bit rates, so there are different qualities.
But does it matter in the end?
Well, it's a difference. To some people, it will matter.
Greg, are you choosing Apple Music because it sounds better, or because you're in the ecosystem of the Apple?
It would be that I'm in the ecosystem of Apple and it makes sense. And I like the service. I like the stations that it creates. I like the radio stations it offers. I like its quick ability, especially when you're on Wi-Fi, for sure, to be able to grab entire albums, just as you talked about with Google. So really, it's all about that. For me, it just happens to be that the quality of the music that I'm hearing on Apple sounds pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bothering me. So it would have been something that would have just bothered me, not that I would have picked it just because of that.
So if you were to have the opportunity to listen to Spotify, and Spotify sounded better to you, would you go with Spotify, or would you stay with the Apple ecosystem and the Apple Music?
The Apple Music would have to sound bad compared to it for me to change, just because I like the way it integrates in with my my stuff.
So it sounds like with a lot of these music services, is they all kind of, even though they stream at different compression and bit rates, people choose based on what they're used to or what their ecosystem is already on. And if it sounds good or decent, then they'll stick with their ecosystem and not really shop around. I mean, they're all relatively the same price, right? $9.99. Mm-hmm. You're going with the $15 for the family one, but they're kind of all in that range.
What do you like about Spotify?
I think it kind of comes back to you in that I started in Spotify and I haven't had any reason to leave it, just because it does everything I want. It has all the music I want. And I must throw out there that now that I'm looking at it, I stand corrected. The Google Play actually streams at 320.
Oh, Spotify. Thank goodness.
Nice.
So
man.
So the only outlier here is Apple Music at 256, but they're using AAC.
Bow to me. You will bow to me.
What I do like about Spotify, though, is that you can change the bitrate. Can you do that on Google Music?
I don't know. I don't change it. I don't know.
Oh, well.
I haven't tried that. I'll have to check that out. I don't know.
I do like that I can change it, because sometimes.
Do you ever change it?
I do sometimes when I'm driving across the state. And
why don't you just cache it? Can't Spotify just cache?
Yeah, I can do offline, but I don't feel a need to do that because I've never been in a position where I didn't have any internet at all.
I don't like my songs to stop halfway, so
Well, they
I
won't.
usually make a driving playlist so I can get the optimal bit rate streaming.
The one thing I will say about the Spotify app, and I don't think they fixed this yet because it still annoys me. So I think I would have found out. Is the app has this problem where it will just cache everything, and it not only tracks that
Google does that.
Yeah, not only tracks that you specifically say offline, it's just everything you ever listen to, which is great if you're ever skipping and you don't have internet because it'll just find songs it already has. But there's no way to dump that cache. The only way I found to get rid of it is to just uninstall the app and then reinstall and start all over, and that drives me nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I like it.
Would-
Because most of the songs I listen to when I drive across the state never stops, never skips. Because it's all cached.
But it doesn't bother you that you just have no control over the amount of data
Nope.
that this is taking up on your phone?
No.
Okay.
None. I mean,
I
I don't know
struggle
how
with
much.
that.
I don't know
I
how
have
much
a
data it
limited
is.
amount, so.
Yeah, I don't know how much data it's taking up on my phone. I think if I noticed that it was taking up a lot of space and preventing me from, taking cool pictures of my kids, maybe it would annoy me then. But I don't think I notice how much space it's taking up. So to me, it doesn't matter. To you, it matters because you want control over everything. For me, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. So consensus, you like Apple Music, right? It's done what you want it to do.
It is absolutely so far. I plan to begin paying for it at the end of the 3-month thing. So
And is the app? I'm sure the app works well since it's developed from Apple, or is it native
Well, it
to the
really-
iPhone?
Yeah, it was really a matter of signing up through your on your phone on My Music, or if it's on your computer, then it would be the iTunes app, and it just has offered a new 2 or 3 different tabs for you to pull down. So you're either in or you're out. You have to sign up and say I'm interested in doing it. Then once you do that, it just really looks like the interface did before until you open it up, and then it has its own look.
Right. Spotify, good.
It's good. You know what I would be interested in trying, though, maybe for some nice web content, is doing a blind test of these services, playing the same song with some headphones, and seeing if we can actually tell if there's a difference.
Yeah, I would too.
I know it's been done before, and I know there have been some slight differences, but as far as us, I don't know if we could tell a difference between 256 on Apple Music.
I can't with this
or-
ringing in my ear right now.
Yeah, well, we'll get some headphones that don't have a ringing, but I think it would be interesting to see if it really does. I'm guessing Greg probably will, and we'll have no freaking clue.
I have no
don't know.
clue.
You know what?
No
I don't
idea.
know, because I've sent a tremendous amount of audio myself just at 128 of 4401, which was, if you're sending a file, has been the long-standing kind of base for above ground audio that's not going to sound particularly compromised, and we're already well beyond that. So,
Yeah.
Greg, have you read or done any research on HD audio?
not any research. I've heard what they're calling HD audio.
Mm-hmm.
When the radio stations are broadcasting it that way.
Right, but the Pono player or anything like that, you haven't had an opportunity to listen to, what do they call it, high fidelity files or something like
Yeah,
that?
like FLAC lossless.
Yeah, FLAC lossless, nothing.
Well, I mean, I've listened to lossless files, but not maybe in exactly the right context to be able to answer the question, though.
Okay.
I have some friends who that's all they'll listen to.
And they can hear the difference?
They can. I don't know if it's mental, but they
can feel the
They
difference.
swear they can definitely hear the difference, and those are the guys dropping thousands on headphones because they can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not buying Bose.
No,
Still pissed at
work-
Bose.
I work with a guy who is a very good friend of mine who would be able to tell that difference in a second.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if HD audio has something. I mean, I've read a few articles on it, but if it contains, I don't even know what to call it, like a feeling that old records had like a warm sound to it that just made you feel good. So, or maybe it's just in your head that you paid this much money, so it better sound good. But I don't know. I mean, I'd like to listen to some HD files, audio files, real ones. And they say, it's as best as you can get from the recording studios at that level. And, so it would be interesting to kind of listen to that to see what it sounds like.
No, there's a whole nother conversation about high fidelity versus the style in which something was recorded. And that conversation began when we got out of tape recordings and into digital recordings, and that conversation continues. But I don't know that it necessarily. One component of it is its bit depth and making it a high fidelity. But there are other components that go into that just come with just style, and that's where people kind of have to diverge, I think.
Okay. So, Matt, you're good with Spotify?
I'm happy with Spotify.
And I'm very happy with Google. So 3 good services that you can choose from if you're kind of looking for a music service. Unlike Pandora. Pandora, you kind of just set a preference and it just makes a radio station. But I think with the other 3, there's that option too. But if you wanted to dive into Adele's new album or, Coldplay's new album, instead of having to shuffle it in a radio station, with these 3 services, you'll be able to listen to strictly that album uninterrupted with commercials. So,
have you guys bought music since you started using streaming services?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, through Google. I bought the Adele CD.
Just because you wanted to own it?
Mm-hmm. My wife.
Interesting. Because I haven't. I haven't even considered buying any music since I started using Spotify.
I think the reason we bought it was because of the reason that she wasn't on Google. And my wife really wanted to listen. She wasn't on the Google Music that streams, but she was on the Google Music where you can buy the album, and so that's why we decided to buy it.
Are we all on one of these streaming services either already paying or with the intent to pay?
Yes.
Yes.
$99 a month.
I just wanted to make sure, because I think there's a big difference between those who are, particularly the Spotify group, perhaps that are listening. Well, for free, as it were, and that's a different thing.
Yes.
What are you pointing at me?
And the Pandora free too is a little different. I mean, you can pay for Pandora. What's $1 a month?
Yeah.
But it doesn't get you what the other services get you.
But it gets you something.
Well,
different.
it's just a different. Yeah, it's a different animal altogether. That whole Genome Project thing about introducing you to music that you may not even know you like, kind of thing. I think that's pretty cool, all on its own.
Yeah. So, all right, that's the big talk.
What's on Matt's mind?
Matt, tell us.
What's it going to be, Matt?
I got 2 things today.
Oh, Jesus.
One's more of a PSA, and one's just something I thought was really cool.
I'm going to go back to my ice cream.
So I'll start with the thing that's a PSA that's really starting to annoy me because I see everyone doing it, and that's closing down your background apps on your phone because you think it's going to save your battery life.
Doesn't do anything. Do you do that? Do you swipe away all your programs that you're not using?
I do.
Okay.
All it does is shorten your battery life.
Well, I think it helps to declutter your mind and your phone.
Well, okay.
I feel like it's like HD audio. You just feel better when you declutter these background things.
I'll even put that aside and say I know that I read as a how-to on some Apple thread at some point that if I do that, it will in fact stop running so much stuff in the background and it will save my battery. So it really was from reading something that you're saying is false.
I think that's back in the day, 1st and 2nd gen, that was true, but now that's not true. Because now what happens when an app goes in the background is it just takes a snapshot and it dumps that state that app was in RAM. And so whenever you go back to open that app, all it has to do is reload where it was from that RAM. But if you close it and it dumps out, then the next time you start that app, it has to start all over and load everything all over again. And it just takes some more battery.
I imagine there's another thread out there that would have told me that had I bothered to look. I just didn't think anything of it. I've been doing it for 2 generations of phone, I guess.
I think
is that with Android phones too, or just Apple specific?
Yeah, it's with everything that's properly optimized, so Android and iOS now. Now, I'm not saying back in the day, I think it was true that if you didn't close it, things would run. But now they've gotten to a point where they recognize this is a great way to start to extend battery life is to make these apps stop running in the background, and now they do.
I know some. I'll throw my sister-in-law under the bus here. Bought an app that's called Task Killer to do exactly what you're saying not to do. So paying 99 cents to swipe away all these programs and close them in the background for you automatically as soon as you hit home. Boom, it goes in the background and closes it. And they spent 99 cents for apparently nothing.
Waste of 99 cents. I will put the disclaimer, though, that if it's a poorly made app, it probably doesn't
So if you lose battery, email Matt.
And then think about the apps you're downloading, and it's probably a bad one.
All right, that's your PSA number 1.
This is just something I thought was cool. I saw in Tokyo, in an effort to combat this new phenomenon of drones being in places they shouldn't be, Tokyo...
They shoot it down with BB guns?
Very close.
Wow.
Well, not close at all, actually. But they have a new division in their police department that it's like a drone division. They have this DJI, it looks like a DJI drone that just has a net on it.
Oh, nice. Scoops it up?
Yeah, they just
That's
fly
awesome.
right over the offending drone, wrap it up in the net, and bring it back.
That's what we need here. I'm tired of seeing, in the summer, Washington had a huge string of wildfires. And I was tired of seeing damn drone footage because I know that it was preventing some of the wildfire helicopters from getting to the spots because the drones were in the way from the firefighters protecting the land.
Yeah.
I'm not against drones. I'm against stupid people who have drones.
Exactly. And I just thought this was so cool.
Precisely why the FAA is getting involved slowly into this.
We
whole
need
thing.
nets.
Yeah, now you have to register. The thought is
that
in
official?
2016. I think they're rolling it out is you have to register to have a drone. Well, I guess there's a lot of things you have to register for that people don't, but the rule will be there nonetheless. But I just thought this was cool because I remember when, there's these huge ideas thrown out, can we use like an EMP pulse to knock it down? Can we use radio jamming to stop it? And someone just said, well, why don't we just hook a net up and just go grab it?
That's awesome.
And it works. It works.
I love it.
Yeah, that's what's on my mind.
All right.
That's a good one.
Drones and closing apps. I like it.
Yeah, it's a very productive day. I was prepared today.
You were.
You were. Yeah. So crowdfunding time now, huh?
Baby got back.
All right. So hopefully this will never mind. I'll explain the project and then we'll go through it.
I don't even know what to never mind.
This project
I was going to say something, but I decided not to, so here we go.
Can I just say
what do you want?
This project has one of the worst videos I've ever seen in my life.
You weren't supposed to watch the video yet. So the idea behind this Kickstarter, so we're going to Kickstarter this week. Last week we went to Indiegogo. So this week we're going to Kickstarter for a project called The Sound Break. That's break, B-R-A-K-E. Okay? Mm-hmm. So have you ever missed a delivery because you were listening to your favorite Adele song?
No.
Greg?
Missed a delivery?
Because you were listening to your favorite Adele song. Hello?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
I don't think so.
Have you ever missed your? Have you ever missed your pizza because you were listening to an audiobook?
No.
Okay. Well, this is off to a great start. Well, no more with the sound break. So take a listen to Matt's favorite Kickstarter video. Again, this product is called The Sound Break, and I think it's kind of cool. But I'm sure you guys will let me know what you think. So it's called The Sound Break.
You can miss out on hearing something important or just something out of the ordinary. And that's why I invented Soundbreak. This gadget allows you to be aware of your surroundings while you listen to headphones on any audio player. Here's how it works. It's very simple. You plug Soundbreak into your audio player, and you plug your headphones into it. Soundbreak listens to your surroundings, and when outside sound is louder than your normal background noise, it temporarily silences your audio, so you'll know that something's going on.
All right, so there's the gist of the sound break. So essentially, you plug it into your smartphone, your laptop, and it's kind of a pass-through of audio so you can hear it. But when the sensor detects a background noise that is louder than what you say it should be, then it silences the current audio you're listening to, so your audiobook or your song, and allows you to listen to whatever that background noise is, or the background sound is, and then you decide if you should take off your headphones and stop your music or whatnot. So you're able to adjust the sound alert level, so you don't always have to have a very loud sound or low sound. It's up to you. And it says it's compatible with your laptop, your tablet, your stereo, your MP3 player. Smartphone comes with a rechargeable battery, micro USB connection. And then they have a bunch of examples on their Kickstarter page And then it probably what the size of what would you compare this to?
I'd compare it to about the width of my phone.
Width of your phone
when it's plugged into the bottom.
And you have the 6 Plus.
Well, okay, maybe a 6, not necessarily a 6 Plus, but it looks pretty big.
It's pretty giant.
It's pretty chunky.
Yeah. So yeah, thoughts on the sound break?
Who gets to go first?
Well, we know Matt's opinion already. So Greg, go ahead.
I'm deeply concerned.
About?
I'm concerned about another item in between me getting stereo music from a plug and then another plug and whatever the quality of the electronics is inside that before I finally get my music out the other end or whatever it is I'm listening to. And I guess I have solved that problem in an unfortunate way just by not investing in really good headphones yet, which is just around the corner. I can hear my surrounding area just fine through my earbuds that I got for my Apple phone. So I know that's not my best reason for that whole thing, but I guess the interruptions that I'm generally dealing with would be a phone call or a text or an email, and every one of those things will send some sort of a not very invasive interruption to me through the phone where I'm usually listening to that stuff.
Right.
So it just doesn't seem to hold much for me, and I'm concerned about it messing with my experience.
As soon as I saw it, I thought it would be kind of cool, and then I realized I have 4 kids. And so if I set this to any level, low, medium, or high, I'm never going to hear anything that I want to hear. So in my current situation at home, this would be pretty useless, and I wouldn't be able to listen to my audiobook or my Adele song.
I'm concerned that it just isn't going to work.
It just looks clunky.
The way you think it will, because one of the examples was, if you're running and you can hear cars. Mm-hmm. I mean, either it's going to
hear you running.
Yeah, either it's going to have to be so sensitive.
And I breathe really hard when I run, and it would stop. So. All right, let's be honest. I don't run.
But yeah,
well, it was just for the sake of argument.
That's right.
either it's going to have to be so sensitive that you can hear a car driving down the street, and if it is, it's going to pick up everything, and you're never going to hear your music, or it's not going to be sensitive enough to do that. The car's going to hit you, and you're going to wonder why you never heard it.
Yeah.
Because you trusted it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it seems like a gamble to me.
All right.
Plus, who runs with their phone in a way that the mic would be able to hear anything, and it would still fit in whatever case you put it in? I'm picturing like an arm sleeve.
Right. This thing is clunky. It's big.
Yeah, there's not 2 inches at the bottom of that thing to hold this. Like, where are you going to... I don't understand.
All right. Well, I got to do it anyways. I got to ask. So, $29 will get you a sound break.
Oh,
$29.
That's a steal.
29.
That's what the GoFundMe or Kickstarter back reward is. $29 or more will get you a sound break. And then, that's the early bird special. So there's a couple more. $50 will get you 2. $49 after all the early bird specials go away, which apparently there's only 10 left. So some people like it.
Maybe it's cheap enough where people are taking a gamble.
That's what I'm saying. So $29 will get you a sound break. And at the time of this recording, this project has 71 backers at $9,010. So it needs just about $900 to meet its $10,000 goal, and it's got about 39 days to go. So it's got potential. It's almost there.
Yeah. It's good. It's
maybe after people listen to this show, maybe not, but I got to ask it anyways. Matt, we'll start with you. $29 will get you an early bird special of the sound break. Are you going to back it or... And I think I know what button I'm going to hit, but I'm going to ask you anyways, back or not?
I'm going to have to pass. This one's not for me. Sorry. Greg, back or not?
I am
$29. It's only $29. You can do it.
I am going to say it is priced right. And
it's the cheapest one we've done yet, right?
Yeah, I want nothing to do with it.
The cheapest one we did was the LED light bulbs at 19.
Yeah.
Oh, but okay, that's true.
And Greg would have backed that one.
Yes.
All right. So for me, the question, $29 for a sound break. I got kids. I can't do it. I'm never going to listen to anything. So for me, it's at least we all agreed.
Right.
I mean, at least we're all on the same page here.
Yeah.
3 votes
That's
for
right.
not backing. That's rough.
So
Tough crowd here.
0-3.
Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
I should point out while we're still in this segment, because it's been pointed out to me that I was terrible at explaining this, the difference between Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Did your girlfriend point it out to you that it was you terribly explained it?
Kind of. I failed to mention that Kickstarter is all or nothing. So if you don't hit your backer goal,
You get nothing.
you don't lose your money. Right? So if they don't hit their 10,000, everyone who gave money, they get it back. Versus Indiegogo, if you don't hit your 10,000 and you get to 9,099, the person still gets the money.
Oh.
They just try to make it with less, or
Yeah.
Or they just don't make it at all.
Versus, well, it's up to them, whatever they do with it.
Right.
You just have to view it as like a donation versus Kickstarter. If you don't hit that goal, no one gives the money. So I failed to point that out the first time.
okay.
Thanks, Melissa, for keeping him on track. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's trending?
All right, we're going to head into the world of what's trending. Normally, I love to show me some Jimmy Fallon. Normally, I do. This week, I'm going to stay away from the Jimmy Fallon and talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. The islands of Hawaii. Pronounced Hawaii, not Hawaii. So, I think it was, this video is like a couple weeks old, but it still works. So, a couple weeks ago.
Before you get going,
Okay.
if I walk into the room, Northern European fellow that I am, and
As Northern European as you can get.
I am indeed. And I begin gallivanting around and saying Hawaii, Hawaii, Hawaii. What's going to happen to me in that?
Put me
room?
through to the Pentagon.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Maybe can we settle on like Hawaii and I understand that
You can say Hawaii.
You have to pronounce both. Yeah.
You can say Hawaii. That's a good one.
All right.
The real northern
sort of
Europeans.
Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii. There's no Y in there. It's a W.
No. Anyway,
so Hawaii
I
is
just,
accepted.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Matt can get away with Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Nope, he can't. Okay, just me. So a couple weeks ago, I don't know where I found this video at, but apparently the national government, the U.S. government, has decided to accept
The mainland government.
The mainland government has decided to accept Hawaiian Pidgin, to recognize Hawaiian Pidgin as a language for the islands of Hawaii. So, a local comedian by the name of Andy Bumatai. Have you guys seen this video yet? Because it would not be fun.
No.
Yes, I
Okay,
have.
Greg hasn't, so that's good. By the name of Andy Bumatai, put this 4-minute video together to kind of explain what Pidgin is, and it also includes, for your Northern European people like Greg, some subtitles. And it came very helpful for my wife when I showed it to her because she had no idea what he was saying, but the subtitles helped to explain. So without further ado, this is Andy Bumatai explaining Hawaiian... Oh, wait, I have to share my screen first. Explaining the Hawaiian Pidgin now being recognized as an official language. So take a listen to this clip right here.
How's it, Gangi? Hey, I get one unreal announcement for make about Hawaiian Pidgin English. And you know what? This whole thing going to be in Hawaiian Pidgin English. And since we live in one politically correct world, I'm going to make the kind of subtitles for the Pidgin Challenge. Okay then. Okay. Here's what's up. The feds, you know who's that at? Those buggers, they work Washington, little bit high mock, mostly howlies, always wear suit. Yeah. Those buggers when tell that Hawaiian Pidgin English is one language. How's that? Huh? So think about that, Gangi. You know how nowadays when you call a bank, press 1 if you like hear English. Press 2 if you like hablo, like they do in Mexico, right? Well, pretty soon gonna get, and no shame, press the picture of a tree if you like hear pidgin English. Beep. Hey, hold it, brother. What? You like me on payment? Hey, it's all good, bro. Pay what you can. No problem. Ole pilikia. How's that? Okay, now, I like to make clear, we're talking about Hawaiian pidgin English, not the Hawaiian language. It's different, bro. You know, no go there, okay? Now, think about it, bro. You ever go caught and you hear like the yobos, you know, the one who get busted for running a hostess bar, right? And all of a sudden they in court and they only talk yobo, and then the attorney talk for them, right? They pretend they no can talk English. You can do that too now, bro. Think about it, bro. You there, oh, excuse me, Your Honor. You know, I never mean for sleep that bugger, but he was giving me stink eye. Plus, he made big body. Yeah, I grew up on that beach, you know. You cannot make that kind, you know. A Garamball band, you're going to get cracks. You come down the beach, act all taran. And the attorney, well, obviously, my client is not predisposed to this type of activity, and he is reacting in a preemptive manner of defense, influenced by his environment and his upbringing. Yeah, what he said. Boom. Huh? How's that? Now, if you speak good English, bro, you know, you can talk good English, plus you speak pidgin, okay? And I'm not talking about the kind of pidgin, you know, the guys come from Califrisco, they go North Shore, they like fit in, and hey, bro, me like stay go your house. Oh, the waves are like really dekined. What, bro, you like go cow? Ugh. No, be honest. You hear that kind? You like snap, yeah? But no can nowadays. So, hey, maintain cool head, bro, and know that if you speak good English and pidgin, bro, you bilingual. How's that? Now, before you go run around brag about being bilingual, remind yourself to include the lingual part. Plenty brothers running around. Hey, bro, you heard what the Fed said? From now on, I buy. Huh? What? Are you the kind or what? No. No. I buy. Oh, what's the other word? Lingual. Okay, remember that, right? You buy lingual. Now, we got nothing against Mahoos in Hawaii, you know. In fact, those brothers can play some mean volleyball, eh? Right. So, hey, remember now, you are bilingual. Be proud, okay? And if you like what you hear and you like hear more, the kind of pidgin news.
There you go. So that's Hawaiian pidgin being recognized as a language. What'd you think, Greg?
I thought that was delightful.
That's just funny.
Yeah.
I'm from Hawaii. I can't speak any pidgin. 0%.
Well.
So I'm not bilingual.
So is it like the language that you took in school sort of scenario where, well, I can understand a little bit of it when
Yes.
I hear it, but I can't speak it very well?
It's exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's funny when my parents, or mostly my dad, is on the phone, and I put him on speaker once in a while, and Megan looks over at me and says, "What's he saying?" I said, "I'll explain later. It's nothing bad." So there you go. That's what's trending.
Oh, that was beautiful.
What's trending?
So that was Andy Bumatai. If you want to check him out on YouTube, we'll also post the link on our website at bandwidthboys.com. Hawaiian pidgin. Not Hawaiian language, Hawaiian pidgin.
Yeah, Hawaiian. Yeah, you say it however you want.
It's funny. It's not Hawaiian pidgin. My cousin could explain.
Exactly.
Yeah, my cousin who went to Hawaiian language school can explain why it's not Hawaiian and Hawaii. And I had to sit through the whole lecture, and I still don't know why. So I'm sure she'll tell me all about it, though.
One should just learn as much as one can.
That's what I'm saying. All right, here we go.
All right, we're into the last segment.
Time for our favorite segment, Rants and Raves. And I actually saw a line filled in by Greg Mills. Holy cow. Holy cow. So because of that, we're going to start with the always happy Greg Mills.
Always happy, but bringing a rant today.
What's your rant, my friend?
Well, I don't want it to sound like some sort of cultural bandwagon when I say Comcast customer service.
Do we
But
not
that
have
is
any
indeed
appropriate
what I'm
sounds
going
for
to
that?
rant
I got nothing. Let's try this one.
Cause you had a bad day, you take it one down, you sing a sad song just to turn it on.
What's going on with Comcast?
All right. Well, I've been a customer for many, many years, and that has included television, internet. At one point, the old triple play that they're so excited about. That
You
with
just
the
give them all
phone
your
that-
money, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I try not to. I try not to. In fact, I no longer and have not for some time had their television service because it just didn't work for me for where my money was going. So I got out of that. So I'm just internet.
Okay. The interwebs.
All right.
You're connected
But
through Comcast.
I am connected because I want fast internet, and it's really the only place to go that's available to me to get the kind of speed that I want in my house. So that's why I have it. We had this big power outage recently in this city that I live in, and it knocked out all of the internet services as well. It was a gigantic storm, and during that time, I had to communicate with the Comcast customer service people. In doing so, they decided, because I said I hadn't had internet for like 10 days or something like that. I was letting them know that I still didn't have it because I was coming up on their app as the fact that I did have it. Well, what they did was they sent me a new modem, and I said my modem works, but it has been a while since I've updated that. So they sent me another one because I lease it from them. Okay, so this thing arrives. I know I'm in for a good couple of hours.
We could have sent Matt up. Why don't you tell us?
No, it's not complicated to set it up. It's
Oh,
not complicated to sign
gotcha.
in. There's nothing complicated about plugging all the stuff in. I totally get it. The complicated part comes when it never works and you're stuck in the phase of having it set up through their internet portal. It all worked, the lights came on and all that kind of stuff works, but there's always something crazy about it. And then it came back on, and my speeds went from 100 down to 25.
Wow.
After you got them up to 100, right?
After I finally got the thing up and going, and I had to redo it, and I was doing it myself online because I've done it enough times. But finally, I had to call and just say, okay, I don't get it. I'm doing a speed test here. I'm still paying as much as I'm paying, and all of a sudden I went from 100 to 25. That's not good. And I'm on the phone for no fewer than probably 45 minutes communicating with 3 different people about this whole thing. And it always comes down to something where your contract ran out, but they never actually stop the service that they're giving you until something like this goes down. And then all of a sudden they tell you that your contract ran out and that you have to pay more money for the same thing. And I find out that my contract is not correct and it doesn't match what's on the website. And we wind up just going around and around and around. And then it all comes full circle around to the point where what they're going to do is they're just going to offer you some other deal that's available to them.
Because if they add TV, it's cheaper,
the Comcast
right?
customer service model makes me crazy because it's all built around somehow in the end making you feel as if you got another deal instead of just literally
Making that permanent
to begin with.
Right. Making that deal permanent. You're going to give it to us. Why not make it permanent? That's what I say.
Well, that and if you've got a better deal that comes up and you guys are changing and Comcast is changing, in big ways with what they're offering for television, what they're charging it for, and all that kind of stuff, their services, because they don't have nearly as many subscribers as they once did. But why don't you get a hold of me as a valued customer and let me know that I should be on that rather than just sort of allowing me to drift behind the boat for as long as I possibly will until finally something happens and then we have to have a 45-minute conversation. I just don't like the way they do their customer service. It's the model. It's not that they're jerks,
bad people
particularly, but they just drive me crazy.
All right.
There's my rant.
Boom. He's off his box. Matt
I got a twofer.
gets on his box. What is that? What is wrong with you?
That's what happens when I plan ahead.
Stop having these twofers.
They're short. It's a short twofer.
Oh, gosh. Here we
Mine
go.
was lengthy. My apologies. But I was not happy.
It's okay. It was your first rant ever of the podcast, so you can take however long you want. Now we're on Matt.
My first one is to provide some closure to the OneNote fiasco that we brought to you a few weeks ago.
I love OneDrive.
One.
You can't even say the name right.
What did I say?
You said OneNote.
Oh,
OneNote.
I meant OneDrive.
We know what you meant.
OneDrive.
Mhm.
Microsoft is allowing some of the current users. No, Microsoft is allowing current users who are on the free plan to get their 15 gigs for free back, but they have to go through some hoops, and then they get the 15 back. But new customers still don't get the 15 gigs. New customers still get the 5. So,
Oh my gosh,
they're backstepping a little bit because they realize everyone hates them. And
that's messed up.
my second rant is precisely what's wrong with the mobile payment industry. Walmart is rolling out Walmart.
No, Walmart Pay.
Oh boy.
Walmart
Pay.
Pay. I don't get it. I don't understand why. And I think that's exactly the opposite direction that the mobile payment industry needs to go in. But whatever, that's just one.
What direction do you think by Walmart getting in? What direction do you think the mobile pay industry is going?
It's fragmenting, in that every store is going to have their own, and then there will be
proprietary.
Exactly.
And you have to have a different way of doing it for each one of them. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't want to have to open a different app every time I walk into a different store. Why can't I just use one app? And I think,
What if you're going to open the app anyways to get discounts?
I don't. Why should I have to?
I'm just saying, if they make it incentives and you walk into Macy's and they have all their coupons on their app, well, it makes sense to stay in that app to pay at Macy's. Does it not?
Safeway does that, but they haven't gone to the app place.
They haven't gotten to the pay or app place.
Yeah,
So I'm saying, if you have to open the app for the discounts, well, it makes sense to stay in the app to pay.
And that makes sense if I do that, but I don't do that.
The world does not revolve around you.
Well,
there are millions of people that make up this great nation.
And that's fine, but I'm saying in my world that will never make sense. And I think MarketWatch said it best when they said Walmart gives customers almost zero reason to use Walmart Pay, because they don't. You look at Starbucks. Starbucks makes sense because for the rewards. Is Walmart going to start offering rewards?
I'm not defending Walmart because I don't like Walmart 1% of my bone in my body. So I think you're absolutely right in the sense that Walmart will be awful at this and will kind of derail the whole mobile payment system, as it's not really caught on yet. And I think Walmart will botch it and push us back even more.
And it will push a lot of people off of mobile payment, I think.
Right.
Well, we appear to be in what is akin to the round of 64 in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
We'll
get to the final.
Everybody trying to grab a piece of this and be the one so that they can be the big deal. And Apple came out advertising it early.
They came out swinging. But it didn't catch up.
It's crazy.
It's funny. Apple usually, when they create something, usually catches on, and I don't feel that Apple Pay has quite caught on the way they hope to. And I don't think it's dying. I just don't think it caught on as fast as they hoped that it would. And I'm all for moving towards this mobile payment system. I always have my smartphone and things like that, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But I was just shocked that Apple didn't kind of bring more people under the umbrella to make it this really big rollout.
And I think Apple Pay is different because it requires two parties, right? It requires a user with the phone to actually want it, and it requires the store to actually invest in being able to accept it. But it's happening. It's growing. It's not shrinking. So I'm interested to see where we are in a year.
Yeah, I am too. But that's going to be another big discussion for us, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you two Debbie Downers of the show, I got a rave.
Okay, go.
I'm bringing up the show. You know what my rave is about?
Bring it.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
The other night, I got home from directing a basketball game, and I drove down my road. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and all these homes started putting up Christmas lights. It's my favorite time of year. You can stroll down your road, and boom, every house, lights are up except for one. Bah humbug that house, if you're listening. Put some damn lights on for the kids. But that's my rave. Very excited for this Christmas time. All the lights. There was white stuff on the ground the other day. It was pretty.
So what was your rave? Christmas lights or Christmas?
Christmas lights, the Christmas time, the Christmas general, whatever. It's December, snow's out, Christmas lights are out. It's a beautiful time. That's my rave. I love it. Love it. There you go.
All right.
Decided to bring
Are
up
we-
the caboose with something happy.
That's right. That's great. Are we ready to close this thing?
Let's
or is there
close
any
it
more
down.
comments? Close it down. Close the book. Another episode. Bandwidth Boys podcast. We're throwing some dirt on this one. I thought it was a good one. Thanks for joining us. If you missed it live, no worries. You can download and listen to the podcast by using iTunes or your favorite podcast app.
Bandwidth Boys Podcast. Facebook, Bandwidth Boys Podcast. Twitter, @GMK Podcast. Web, bandwidthboys.com. Bandwidth Boys Podcast.
All right, with that, I'm Greg.
I'm Matt.
I'm Connolly.
We'll talk to you next time. Same place, same time, same old shenanigans. That's right here on the Bandwidth Boys podcast. Keep on teching on.
Peace.